Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another market breakdown. It is Wednesday, November 5. Let's get right into it. Starting from the top, the trades that we took this week or held from last week, NZD/USD still moving. We basically missed out on one extra day of price action. At this point, I do think that we might get a reversal or a rejection from here and start the pullback, depending on how this daily candle closes. And it looks like it's going to close as a doji. AUD/USD, same exact thing. I closed this one already at the same area I said I was going to. Nice day or two of selling, and we're in an area of potential pullback. So there has been lots of reversal in this area. I basically closed. I closed as soon as price sold very aggressively. Right, literally on this selling candle, I saw we hit our take profit, and I was like, all right, we're at a lower low on the daily here. So we've reached the daily. We basically reached both the daily structure and the weekly structure in the same area. So there is a chance that we kind of mess around for the rest of the week, close right here on the weekly candle, like right on top or right underneath this weekly area of interest. And then next week, what we could probably see is a wick to the upside and then a weekly bearish candle. So potentially we could just enter next week and have a continuation to the downside. If we do close, let's see. If we do close with a pullback, like let's say we get a little pullback for the next 2 or 3 days, next week we create our wick right here, and then we could sell. That would be nice to see. And then same exact thing on NZD/USD, just going to wait for a pullback. It would be nice to have a bigger pullback, but a small one suffices realistically. We have an area of interest here. Nice strong reactions from this area in multiple directions underneath and above. So if this closes as a daily doji, then we're probably going to see that pullback starting. And it could take a week, it could take 2 weeks, it could only take 3 or 4 days. But usually they're quite nice and slow, therefore allowing the market to breathe, allowing the EMA to catch up, so on and so forth. So that is NZD/USD and AUD/USD. Now let's take a look at some of these other pairs. Bitcoin has broken underneath $100,000 for the first time in a long time, since June. So Bitcoin broke above. Now we've finally done what? Tell me. We finally reached the weekly EMA. Now, sometimes price reacts from the weekly EMA right away. So for example, here, we touched it, we reacted, and then we actually pulled back, retested it again, and had a continuation. What do you think is going to happen? Well, we touched it, we reacted, we pulled back, and then we had the full push. Same thing could happen right now. We might react to the upside, say on the daily time frame. And what is the daily time frame doing? Well, we've created a head and shoulders. We have an area of interest. So it's probably going to do the same thing. It's probably going to pull back into here. We're going to get the reaction. Then we're going to get the push back down, retest the weekly area of interest, and then actually get the continuation. It's done it twice. So why not try one more time? But notice that it takes weeks. So here it took 1, 2. So we touched it with 1 week, and it took 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 weeks to do that. Here we touched it 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So could be in the same situation for another 4 weeks. The weekly time frame does have a head and shoulders pattern. So it wouldn't be surprising if we pulled back with 1 or 2 weeks and then we had the reaction, created a lower low on the weekly time frame, and then had the full push Bitcoin moves fast, but it also moves kind of slow in terms of building that weekly market structure. On the lower time frames, it has a lot of movement, but none of it is really significant at the end of the day, other than these huge pushes, which are usually and you can see, I mean, we're literally doing the same exact thing here where we've broken underneath the daily EMA. Now we're trading underneath the daily EMA, underneath the daily EMA, and underneath the daily EMA. So a few options, but chances are we're going to retest daily EMA and then push down and then push up. Okay. SPX, S&P 500, pulling back into that previous structure. We can delete this, we can delete this. Previous daily structure, previous weekly structure. We're having that nice pullback, and we're probably going to get a reaction pretty soon, considering the fact that we are nearing that previous structure there. We are already reacting from the previous structure here. Same exact thing right here. So we've retested basically across all three. I wouldn't be surprised if here we opened to the downside as soon as market opens in the next hour and a half. I think it's in the next hour and a half, yeah, at 5:30 my time. So price would open, push down, and then have the reaction and push up off of this area. Same exact thing. We open, we kind of push down a little bit, maybe create like a double bottom here, and then push up off of this area of interest. And same thing here. Look, we're underneath this EMA. So there is a chance that we kind of create the lower low and then actually pull back, shift above, and push up. So expect either a little bit of a pullback and then a reaction, or just an instant push up. Either way, it would be nice to see a break and retest above this EMA, break and retest above this EMA. And over here, we're at the 4-hour EMA. So we haven't actually broken underneath. That tells me that price could very easily push in to retest that 4-hour EMA, or we might just float right above it and never really touch it. Perhaps if we get this reaction to the upside, then the EMA will actually straighten out like this, and then it actually might touch without price having to reach it. So we'll see what happens there. Gold looks like it's going to finally recover from those sells, creating some equal structures right here on the 4-hour weekly time frame. Last week we opened, didn't really create a top wick, so there's a lot of empty space inside of this area. Daily time frame looks like it's creating a double bottom. 4-hour time frame already had the reaction from the 4-hour EMA. Now we're still underneath the 4-hour EMA. We're still underneath the 2-hour EMA. So we could see a move to the downside since we're getting a reaction right now. But since everything else is bullish, I'm still just looking for buys. I want to see the continuation. I want to see gold start to recover some of that loss. If you're trading just based on market structure, weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is still bearish. So I suppose that means that you could take sells. If your lower time frame confluences align, I guess you have a 30-minute shift to structure, EMA, whatever else, and you could potentially catch a move to the downside. But I'll just be waiting for a full break and retest of this area break and retest of these highs, and then continuation to the upside. Dollar index, weekly time frame still pushing up into this EMA. Daily time frame finally had the push above the area of interest. Now we're just waiting for a pullback into the area of interest to continue to buy, retest a previous structure, retest of the area of interest, retest of the 4-hour EMA, all of that good stuff. So going to be waiting on that. Now, going into what we expect for the next couple of days, we already talked about NZD USD, pull back to sell on the daily time frame. AUD USD pullback to sell as well. Daily time frame is currently bearish. And if this daily candle closes like this, actually, no, it would have to close down here. So once price actually closes below this level, then we will have a lower low. Now, this could be our lower low only if the next candle or two close down here or close below this level right here. So as long as we close below, then this becomes the lower low. However, if we have this happen, if we do have a pullback, say even into these levels right here to create a shoulder, head, shoulder, then this right here would become our lower low or lower high. Sorry, this would be lower high, lower low, lower high, and then next lower low would be down here. So that's going to be what happens there. So we're just waiting for a pullback into some of these levels right here, into the EMA, into all of that right there. So realistically, we don't need this area of interest. And we're just waiting for price to do that. All right. NZD-CHF. This is one that I am interested in. Weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame closed with a bearish engulfing. 4-hour time frame has shifted below the EMA, retested the EMA. I actually had entered this on that one small account that I was talking about. I basically full ported the last $200. Now, my entry was in this area of interest. I basically saw price push up and my entry was like right here. So that's where I entered. And my stop loss was like right there. So I was actually in a good position. And we had this push right about this level. I was probably up $400. And then the market closed and the spreads instantly. I mean, so this was a news event. This was news at 4:45 Eastern time. And the spreads, so I removed my stop loss to be safe, and spreads literally took me out like way up here, even though price never reached it. So that sucks. That sucks a lot. I didn't realize that NZD-CHF had such large spreads. If I knew that, I don't study spreads during market close, but I do believe that that was also affected by the fact that we had news 15 minutes prior. So they had to price in the price action that could happen because of that news event during the market close. So that was kind of disappointing to see. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It was only $50. I'm going to try that again probably this next week or on the next trade. We'll see how I feel. Anyways, that being said, NZD-CHF is now going to have a continuation to the downside, or should have a continuation to the downside. Confluences are weekly and daily time frame are bearish. We have a full reaction on the daily time frame. We had a pullback on the 4-hour time frame. So 4-hour time frame created a double top above the EMA. We broke below. We retested the neckline and the EMA with this wick. That is where I got my entry. And then we had the push to the downside. Now we're having another pullback. Our 4-hour time frame is bearish from right here down to here. Lower time frames are all in order. We're underneath the EMAs. We're having, double top right here. Neckline right here is being retested. So I don't see why we wouldn't get a continuation like right now. Like right there, stop loss. I don't know, up here, you want to be safe. That's, call it 20 points right there. And take profit would be daily time frame, I guess. Like, wouldn't be that big, but you'd also get a continuation to the downside. So probably like a 1 to 3, I would say. A 1 to 3 could be pretty solid right there. That is if the CHF pairs all have their sell-off, which I think that they will. AUD CAD weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame had a selling moment yesterday. We sold, created a daily double top. 4-hour time frame broke. 4-hour time frame created a head and shoulders. Very similar, it looks like, to AUD CAD or NZD CHF. Excuse me. So basically, price broke underneath this area, retested the neckline, or is retesting the neckline. One thing to consider is that the 4-hour time frame shifted bullish. So we have shifted bullish, and we might shift above this EMA. Now, that's not guaranteed. We could very easily, and it looks like we will, reject the lower time frame EMAs. If you get a selling candle, say on this 30-minute time frame right now, if we sell and we engulf to the downside underneath this area of interest, that is basically all you need to enter this trade. 20 point stop loss once again, and targeting daily structure, like right there. That's a 1 to 3.5. Not bad. USD CAD, nothing to talk about here. We're at the higher high. We're waiting on the pullback on the daily time frame. So this can realistically go out of our list, since it'll take probably the rest of the week, if not longer, if not probably 2 weeks or so, to pull back into previous structure. Now our area of interest will go up a little bit. It will be these wicks and this body. And then around that same level, by the time price gets there, the EMA should catch up, and then we should get the continuation. Euro GBP weekly time frame. Oh, wait. No. Sorry, I skipped over a whole section. We did AUD CAD, Euro CHF. Euro CHF weekly time frame is bearish. We've pulled back into these previous structures. Daily time frame had a doji. Now we're having another doji at the EMA. Creating market structure. We haven't shifted. We haven't broken underneath the EMA. We haven't done anything too significant. Still above the 30-minute EMA, creating inverse head and shoulders. So I would kind of stay away from this one for now. Just don't love the market structure there. And if that's the case, like if we can't really trade, they're all going to move similarly. So if one continues bullish, then all of them will continue bullish, which is why it's usually important to wait for that EMA to break. Should be important to wait for that EMA to be broken under. But here we have. So it's kind of one of those situations that differs with each pair. But yeah, my trade will most likely look something like this. break underneath, retest of these structures, and then a continuation to the downside, targeting daily structure. So targeting this lower low. CAD CHF. This one, this one I called out. I see some of you guys saw it setting up as well. Weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is bearish. We had two dojis. We're having a selling candle on the daily time frame. We set up with a head and shoulders on the 4-hour. We've retested the neckline on the 4-hour time frame. 2-hour time frame broke below the EMA. We had a nice sell. We've had a pullback. We're having a reaction. Now it's just up to price to have a continuation realistically. If you're gonna enter it anytime soon, like we'll see how it moves while we're on the call once again. But if you're gonna enter, say right now, it's always best to be safe and set your stop loss above the high. So 25 points around call it 0.576. That's what I would be looking to do. But once again, we have to be patient and see what price is actually going to do. GBP NZD, still waiting. I saw a lot of people in school like calling this one out. They're like, oh, it's ready, it's ready. It's not ready. It's definitely not ready. First of all, you're above the EMA, right? You're creating a double bottom on the 4-hour, and you haven't broken underneath the 4-hour structure, the 4-hour trend line, sorry. Weekly time frame is bullish, so that's not surprising. Daily time frame is bearish. We are technically still underneath the EMA. This candle could technically still close with the bearish engulfing. And that's still what we'll be waiting for. If this area of interest is going to hold price down, then it'll do its thing. And if not, then we're not even worried about this trade. But yeah, this one was tricky for a lot of people. I think a lot of people FOMO'd into this one. They saw the selling. They may have entered on the pullback. I have no idea. But I saw a few people flexing that they were already in profits on this trade. So good for them. But right now they're in some major drawdown. And their stop losses are probably above these equal highs, which is a perfect place for price to just take them out. And then with the next candle, break underneath, retest, and then sell. So good luck to all of them. I would not be in the trade yet. Waiting for that. I mean, one daily bearish engulfing is really all you need. That daily bearish engulfing means price is already broken through the equal lows, right? They're going to use the equal lows as a support resistance right here. All you're going to wait for is price to break underneath, retest, and sell. It's that easy. Just take some patience. And then your profit target is right here. GBP JPY. GBP JPY is doing what we want it to do. It's having a reaction. Now, the reaction is a little bit more aggressive than I expected. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish. And 4-hour time frame is bearish. Now, remember when we talked about this, we usually have a lower low on the 4-hour. This 4-hour hasn't had any lower low structure. So from here, it would be nice to see a push to the downside and then the full reaction to the upside. Just going to be waiting on that to happen. That would give us the nice, beautiful doji. Could be a bearish doji if we close with the lower low. Then we kind of just close like this, wick on both sides. And then tomorrow we open, push to the downside, and continue to the upside. Fantastic trade overall if we wait for it to do its thing. So here we're just waiting for a lower low. then a shift, then a pullback, and then a buy. Same thing, lower low, shift, pullback, buy, lower low, shift, pullback, buy. It's that simple. So now from all of these, I think we're still interested in all of them. Like realistically, I think we are. All of these have potential to have the continuations. So we're just going to leave the list as it is. And let's get into the rest of these pairs. USD CAD, we already talked about, pullback to buy. Euro GBP had the daily higher high. So now if the daily does pull back, it'll go bearish, but will still be above the daily EMA. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is what? It is also bullish. Now, a lot of people were going to take sells, and they did take sells. They took a loss. Why? Because this is one that Alex was interested in selling. I can see why. There's your 4-hour structure, your 4-hour double top. You could probably pull back to sell. I think that he was. Let me check. That's not it. Yeah, Euro GBP. So that was his list there. Did I ever update? It was his favorite. A counter trend trade was his favorite. That's spectacular. I'm gonna reload my page. I think the TCT had an update. It had an update, then I need to update it. Yeah, 2.0.9. Did I ever update my signal is the true question. No, I didn't. Okay. What price did we exit? Copy price. Okay, so yeah, 3%. I actually made a little bit more. I think I made 3,400 because at the point that I entered, price had a small pullback. And I also sent the signal, I think, a little bit early. So I think I sent it and then price actually reached the entry point a little bit, a few moments later. But yeah, great trade overall. Price looks like it might be creating a head and shoulders and reversing, but we already talked about that one. Good way to start the month. So realistically, now all I'm looking for is one more trade, or I might be done for the week. Um depends on the markets, obviously. But if I have one more trade, 2 trades a week, I think that's all we really need. 1 to 2 trades a week. That's going to be the goal for this month. So like that's already like we took this week, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. We made 3.2%. This week we only took 1 trade and we're already there. So like what's more important? Is trading more important or is profit more important? That's the real question. And most people think that it's trading. Like the more you do, the more reps you do, the better you'll get. Yes, but also no. Yes, but also no. Anyways, waiting for that pullback still on the daily time frame. I don't think that we'll get the full pullback now. Realistically, I think that price might just have the continuation from here, but we're not buying from a daily area of interest. So that's why I'm just not interested until price pulls back. Euro USD, waiting for the daily pullback to sell. We already have it written down here. We have it basically graded out, I'm pretty sure. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish underneath the EMA, underneath the area of interest. Now we're just waiting for the nice pullback there to have the continuation. I mean, this one is clean. This is really clean. It'll line up with our other daily time frame pullbacks on USD pairs, USD CAD, NZD USD, AUD USD, Euro USD, USD CHF. They're all going to be doing a very, very similar move. So if you want to take a counter trend trade, I mean, you maybe could. Like this one seems to be pretty smooth. Like compared to this and this, what we're seeing, very, very different. Like this is as clean as it gets. USD has been moving kind of like it used to during the Biden markets. Maybe that's due to the government shutdown. Like, how are they still shut down? Like, just wait till I get back. They're gonna open right back up, right? Now, realistically, like they're a bunch of grown men and women who can't agree on simple things. It's ridiculous. Oh, and GBP USD. That's another one that's moving very, very similarly. And apparently, I guess they're starting to shut down airspace because I don't know, government pays for a lot of that stuff, and I guess the government funds are tight right now, right? GBP USD, weekly time frame, daily time frame, underneath the area of interest, underneath the EMA, weekly time frame, underneath the EMA. So a weekly pullback or 2 weeks of pulling back would be very nice. And then a week of selling or 2 weeks of selling or 3 weeks of selling would be even nicer. So that's what we'll be looking at there. Daily pullback, let's see. Daily pullback to sell. All right, NZD, NZD CAD. That's interesting news. China orders all new state-funded data centers to use only Chinese-made AI chips, banning NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel. That's what the USA should have done. All right, NZD CAD. Let's remove this. It's unnecessary. Just blocks up your screen. If you guys notice, I don't know if you noticed, but I don't really use much on my screen. Like I just a couple lines, couple areas of interest. That's all I need. And then as soon as price is done, I move on. I use the next area of interest and I continue to trade. Okay, yeah, we're just waiting for the daily pullback. And the daily pullback has already begun. I'm waiting for the daily pullback to sell. Daily time frame has already shifted. Look, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, shift the structure. So we've already begun the daily pullback. Now this will be, or that's a 4 hour. What the heck? That's the 4 hour. Sorry. 4 hour pullback has started. The daily time frame is currently bearish. So yeah, 4 hour pullback has already started into the daily area of interest. Now what we could probably see is a sell, pullback, sell, pullback. It'll take its time. It'll take its time. And then when it finally gets there, it'll have the shift of structure, the pullback, and the continuation. Kind of like this, super choppy and then super clean, super choppy and then super clean. Now, I think this area of interest that I have right here is not very accurate. I think that was just for the previous wick. And realistically, price doesn't just pull back into the previous structure. It pulls back a bit deeper, like potentially to something like this. That could be a good trade. It has more structure. It has more substance to it. There's two structures here. We call that 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's a bunch of area of interest, and also the EMA will pull back to it. EuroCAD. EuroCAD. bearish daily time frame, bearish weekly time frame, broke underneath the EMA, retested. Now, we did create an inverted head and shoulders pattern, so be aware of that. We are about to retest or are retesting the 2-hour EMA, but as of right now, I'm not too interested unless price fully breaks and retests. I mean, realistically, I'd like to see price shift back to bearish on the 4-hour and kind of take the same trade in the same area. So I don't know. Maybe see a bearish engulfing candle and then a wick pullback to continue to sell. I just want to know that we're done pulling back. I want to know that we're not going to continue to buy. Could take another day or 2 or 3 days, but we'll see when that happens. GBP CHF, GBP CHF, bearish on the weekly. Daily time frame is currently bullish. 4-hour time frame is currently bearish, retesting the EMA. Now, I don't really love the way that we pulled back here. It isn't very, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. It's very aggressive. I mean, it has been before. Like this was a pretty aggressive pullback. This was a pretty aggressive pullback, but every single time we still find a way to continue to the downside. So I guess not paying attention to any of that. We're just going to wait for lower time frame confirmations. To me, a lower time frame confirmation would be a proper break and retest of the 30-minute EMA or the 1-hour EMA. You know, if we had created a double top right here, break, retested the neckline to continue to sell. Other than that, I think that price could just consolidate for a little while, maybe press back above the EMA here. It looks like we pushed above it more than we usually do, at least in this instance. I don't know. Not really interested in GBP CHF. It's kind of, I think all of the CHF pairs aren't exactly the way we want them to be right now. Maybe we'll see. We have another hour until market open, obviously. Or that's no. Market is open. New York session is in session. It's 8:30 in the morning. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think that we're still in the pullback overall, in the higher time frame pullback. Where were we? GBP? No. GBP CHF, yeah. GBP CHF going to be waiting for proper rejection, proper selling pressure. AUD CHF is selling pullback above the EMA, still above the daily EMA, rejecting the daily EMA, above the 4-hour EMA. Yes, we have a head and shoulders, but we're still above the 4-hour EMA, and price could continue to press up. Not interested until we get a break and retest. Let's see. Daily time frame is pushing on USD CHF, waiting for that daily pullback to buy. Still waiting. Nothing to see here really. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Now, sorry, I forgot to mention this, but I think that Freddie was going to do, since we have this new version of the tool, right? We updated to version 2. I think he was going to do 1 round of lifetime memberships, and he wanted me to mention that to people who wanted it. It's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to be like always available. I think he's only going to do it for like a week. So if you guys are interested in a lifetime membership, feel free to DM me or DM Freddie. I'm going to respond more often than he does. But yeah, just let me know if that's something you guys are interested in. So Yeah, so weekly time frame here is bullish on Euro NZD. Daily time frame is bullish. Daily had a pullback. Now we have a continuation. I guess we're just waiting for the full pullback to continue to buy. Not interested as of right now. AUD JPY time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish above the EMA. 4-hour time frame has broken underneath the EMA, so we might get a retest to sell, similar to the way we did around here. I guess here we have an elbow on the 4-hour, so the 4-hour might go bullish shortly here. We'll see what happens with that. Not interested until we get the full pullback to the previous weekly structure. Same thing here, still waiting on the full pullback. I guess here we almost got the full pullback. We did kind of retest this with the wick. That might be what price is trying to tell us, is that we already, yeah, so we already fully pulled back. Interesting. CHF JPY, I'm not sure about that one. Weekly time frame bullish, daily time frame bullish. Retested this structure that has had many, or this area of interest that's had many reactions in the past. Hmm. Add JPY. Daily time frame went bearish. NZD JPY. I guess you could consider this being an elbow, and then daily time frame went bearish. I'm not a huge fan of that though. CHF JPY still waiting for the pullback into the daily double top. Looks like that might be what we're having happen right now. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with these other JPY pairs. AUD JPY had a pullback. Now we have this doji candle. These doji candles are usually, like, when they're this aggressive, if we close as is, then we could probably start to see buying coming back in, buyers coming back in and pressing this market higher. I guess that is a possibility. Daily time frame here shifted bearish. So here's the way it is. Weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish, but the 4-hour time frame has already shifted bullish. So you have two time frames in sync. Now it is a bit riskier considering that you're underneath the EMA, but if you like risky trades, then this is maybe for you. Pull back to buy. I'm not really interested in the JPY pairs, but I will break them down for you guys. Same thing here. 4-hour time frame is going to shift bullish. Weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish. We retested previous structure to continue to buy. CHF JPY daily shifted bearish, waiting for the pullback to sell. Since we have two time frames in sync, the daily and the 4-hour, NZD JPY, same thing. Weekly is bullish, daily is bullish. 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. So a bit of variance between these pairs. Not really a huge fan of the way they're moving. There are many other clean pairs out there for us to trade. All right, nearing the end of our list. AUD NZD having quite a push this week. At a higher high, we're at a higher high on the weekly, at a higher high on the daily. 4-hour time frame is continuing to press higher. Still waiting for the pullback into the previous daily structure in order to take buys. GBP CAD. Looks like we're having the reaction from this little channel that we're inside of. Daily time frame is pressing higher. 4-hour time frame has had a shift to the lower side, and now we're going to get a bullish shift to structure, shift above the EMA, retest, buy. GBP AUD, weekly time frame is bearish or bullish, sorry. Daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is still moving sideways. I think this one is one we were waiting for quite a while. This is one that we could probably trade. It looks like we're in a situation like this. I can highlight it for you. Look, price loves to do this on this pair. 4-hour time frame, moves sideways, breaks above the EMA, retests buy. 4-hour time frame, at the low, move sideways. You notice what's happening. Why are we moving sideways? Why don't we just turn around and continue to press higher? We can't do that. The EMA is too far. The buyers and sellers are still confused as to who's in charge. But as soon as price breaks above with this huge candle, retest, buy, price moves. Same thing here. We're at the low. We're underneath the EMA. We're struggling. EMA is too far. We can't press above it. But as soon as we do, break, retest, buy. Where's another example? Right here. Same exact thing. Moving sideways, break above, buy. Right here, same exact thing. Moving sideways, break above, buy. What are we doing? We're in the same position. We're just moving sideways. As soon as price gives you a clear indication that it's done moving downwards, you get a bullish candle, quick pullback, price is moving higher. Okay. Now, purely based on market structure, the weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. So this would be a counter trend trade technically, but it wouldn't be a counter directional trade since the direction of the market is bullish very clearly, and the direction of the market here is bullish very clearly. So, yeah, just going to be waiting on that to happen. Actually, that's going to kind of annoy me later. Let me delete all of these little boxes. All right, now Euro AUD, last but not least. Bullish on the weekly, daily time frame, bearish. Similar situation to GBP GBP AUD. So here, 4-hour time frame, had the shift above retest. Now, one thing to note that we're underneath the daily EMA, underneath the daily area of interest. So we're seeing a reaction to the downside. That's why I wanted to see a clean break above, a clean retest, and then a buy. Still going to be waiting on that. I'm not interested in any of these pairs. Just interested in these ones right now. Here on NZD CHF. So let's look at the CHF pairs side by side. NZD CHF waiting for basically a continuation on the lower time frames. We already have the break underneath, retest to sell. Euro CHF, not as nice. We're still at an area of a potential reversal, but we're very far from the EMA and we're above the EMA. So this one is a little bit riskier. Take up here, I would wait for the break and retest to sell. And CAD CHF, we have already had market structure shift to the downside on the 4-hour, but we are still above the 4-hour EMA. And we could still see a reaction to the upside if we're not careful. Just waiting on lower time frame confirmation to sell. I think out of the three of them, CAD CHF is my favorite. NZD CHF is second best, and then Euro CHF is third. AUD CAD, AUD CAD waiting on. AUD CAD, what are you doing? So if you notice what price did, it sold into the EMA. And since we're trading above the EMA, like we're in this type of a situation where we're pressing up, we reach a level that we're tired, like exhausts price. We pull back into the EMA, we tap into it, and then we just take off. So realistically, I would stay away from this one. I don't think that it's going to sell. I think that it found what it was looking for inside of this EMA, and that's why we're getting this aggressive push. That's why the 4-hour time frame just shifted bullish. There's really not much more to be said. I don't think I'm going to be interested in this one. And then GBP NZD waiting for the break and retest underneath to sell, and GBP JPY. On this one, I'm not really sure what I'm looking for on the lower time frames. I guess it would be a daily doji. Yeah. Oh, never mind. I am sure. I'm not sure right now because price isn't doing it, but we're waiting for the lower low on the 4-hour, and then we're waiting for a shift to structure on the 4-hour time frame. So in order of what is going to be ready first, I'd say CAD CHF just waiting for the break to sell, NZD CHF waiting for the break to sell. When I say break, I mean like engulfing candle. Euro CHF break and retest to sell on the 4-hour time frame. Same with GBP NZD, and then GBP JPY waiting for the 4-hour time frame to create a lower low, then have a shift to structure, then have a pullback, then to buy. Okay. That is basically it for today's video. You guys are amazing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.